Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. So, today we're going to be talking about emotions and displaying emotions in your books with your characters. Um, Emotions are really what drives the readers to continue. If a book is coming out kind of boring and bland, it's because you're not demonstrating enough emotions. There's basically a block between the reader and the character. They're not feeling the character. So you really want to, and the beautiful thing with writing is that you can really take your time to really display the emotions, to really show the emotions that the character is feeling, whether it's anger, love, um, hatred, bitterness, indifference, all those things. Like you can really show it, and it can really help propel the story forward because emotions, like we speak in so many different languages, verbal and nonverbal, and you can really display that in your writing. So one way to really help you pull out the emotions of the characters is to really just stop and think about what this character is going through, how they're feeling, and take out one thing that really works for me is I try to reduce how much I use dialogue tags. So when you're taking out, you only should be using said or asked. That's it. You shouldn't be using and I mean I'm guilty of it too. So this is something that I'm working in my revamps. This is something I'm working on. So and we did this a lot, and this is it's not anybody's fault. It is actually something literally we've been told the opposite like 5-10 years ago. You were told to not use said so much. So now they're saying, and they even had a whole website dedicated other words for said. Okay, so it was a whole website. I am a witness. I saw this too. If you saw it, but now what they're saying is you want to cut out said. You want to reduce said and ask, and you want to just reduce those things. So what you can do is either just have the customer, if the clients talk, the characters. You just want to have the characters talking back and forth. If it's just two of them in a room, if it's not just two of them in a room, there's other people in the room. You kind of have to put more names. But even when there's two in the room and you have, uh, blah 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 said, um, whatever Max said or May said, and when you have that going back and forth, it gets kind of annoying to the reader. So what you want to do is says, um, I love you. Max held her hand and brought him to his lips. He brought it to his lips, right? Um, May step closer. I love you too. Like those are ways you just took out Max said, May said, for example. And then you replace it with showing emotion in their action and their demeanor. So that's a way to show emotions. Another way is in comparison, like comparing it. He was as mad as, I don't know, I don't know. Trying to think of something off the top of my head, but uh, he was as mad as, I don't know, a headless horseman that lost his pumpkin. I don't know, whatever it is. But you could do kind of like a comparison instead of, and it just brings more depth. It gives something the reader can understand. Either they understand the terminology or they understand um, the way that the comparison, So, for example, another one is uh, he had to duck to enter into the room. That definitely get instead of saying he was, and I'm guilty of this too. He was 6'5", you know. um, so things like that. So a person, most people may not really understand what 6'5" is. They may get that that's tall, but they may not really understand how tall that is, especially if there's somebody that's vertically challenged like myself. We don't always, like, we probably won't, like, 6'5". Well, anything over 5 for me is 5'3" is tall, or something is anything over 5 feet is tall. So that doesn't really help. But what does help is like his, his shoulders, um, or his figure. What do you? I forgot the word for it, but his figure matched the door frame, which actually just sounds like somebody who's shaped like a rectangle. So I don't know if you want to use that. That doesn't sound appealing. But you know that you get what I'm saying. Like you want to use comparison that the person can. I could relate to someone telling me that someone had to duck to get into the door. Then I'm like, whoa, this person. That's more of an impact to me than you telling me they're 6'5". So you telling me they had to duck to enter into the room. I'm looking at my doorway and I'm like, whoa, that's a tall freaking dude, um, or whatever. So you want to take the opportunity, take out the dialogue tags and use it as an opportunity to show emotion, um, or just action. So like I'm sick of your crap. Maxwell said, as this where you say Maxwell said as he placed his glass of bourbon on his desk. Like, or I'm sick of your crap. Maxwell threw his glass of bourbon across the room. You know, blah blah blah, something like that. Like you can so you're saying like he's saying it, but you're not telling them. It's not like okay, I'm sick of your crap. Maxwell was angry. That's a no-no. You don't want to do that because you're telling the reader how they feel. So this goes into kind of like show and tell, but you want to show the emotion. So I'm sick of your crap. Maxwell threw the glass of bourbon across the room. So nobody just happily throws unless it's a party. But you know what I'm saying? Like nobody's gonna say those words and throw and have that action and it be a good thing. So you're showing the reader they're angry because they're intelligent enough to know. But you're showing it because this feeds the movie playing in their head while they're reading your book. You're just trying to give the right descriptions so that movie keeps playing and it doesn't, have a glitch in the system, so to speak. So emotions are a lot of fun. You really want to tap in when you feel like your character is kind of bland or they're coming out kind of bland or sounding kind of flat. You want to go back over and just start really thinking about what's going on, how you would feel, how you think somebody would feel in the situation, and how what would be what's the response for that character. So remember, this is a character driven book, so they're just like real people. Their reactions may vary from character to character. So if you have a character that tends to be more like humorous and funny, their anger might be a little bit different. Or it'd be like that it's so shocking that they're angry because they're always joking and laughing around, and for them to be angry, normally with a person like that, it's kind of look a little bit more intense. When you have somebody who's always laughing and all of a sudden they're angry, it's a little bit more tense, a little bit more serious, right? So just remember, let your characters write their book. Let your characters tell the story. You are just a pen or the fingers for the keyboard. That's your thing, and then you do all the other stuff. But the story should be really told from the characters. At least for me, this is what I teach. This is what I when I share my advice on writing and in my own books. That's how I do it. I let my characters tell the story, and I'm never disappointed. A lot of times, I'm just as shocked as a reader as what happened next. A lot of times I want to get into writing because I want to know what's going to happen next. Like what's going to happen now. And that's how it should be. It should be just as entertaining for me as the reader. So like I can still get up again. Like even though I've read Endurance, I wrote Endurance a million, and I've worked on it so many times, I can still go back and read it because it's always comes to me like, wow, I didn't see that coming, or that's just so cool. I actually don't do outlines. I don't do planning. What I do is I use my master developmental editing techniques to craft out the story. Before then, I just literally sat down and threw up on paper and then sorted it all out. But now what I do is because of everything that I've learned. I actually go through this journal, and I'll put a link in the description. I go through this journal, and step by step, it helps me to communicate with my character. For example, there's a section. It's not just a workbook. I mean, it's not just reading. The first half of the book is all the developmental editing information, the how to, and then the second half of the book is a workbook. So you have your character development profiles, and that is like, it's not like a one sheet kind of thing. It's actually like, I think it's 14, 15 pages. The first page is you're doing the basic layout of the character, and then the each page you're going to be writing, you're going to answer the questions. But I want you to frame in your mind, you're answering, it's like you're communicating with this character. Okay, so what is Max about? Like, what is his strengths, what is his weaknesses, what makes him angry? And through writing that out, so the character I was working on yesterday, her name is Madison, right? And this is for my next book, Rosewood. And she's a good character. She's an ally. She has been wanting to work for the company Intercept. If you read my book Forbidden, you kind of understand what I'm talking about. Um, she's been wanting to work for this company called Intercept. She turns 18, and she goes and she can't get the position she wants because of her age, but they allow her to come on and start at an entry level and see how she does, and they'll work her way up. So she's just excited about this company. Well, as I filled out the character profile, that was easy. Then I went to the first page was, or the second page was basically for me to draw, where I have my daughter draw what she looks like. And then I also has a part for you to write your description of the character, and that basically gives you the chance to, and this is for, if you do like me, I use AI, so I can write down what I would put in the AI description when I'm putting the description on how I want the character to look. It kind of helps me brainstorm and sort it out, so for me, I put like she has peach color skin. She has brown hair, brown eyes, she weighs 110. So, or, I'll put like, slender, or, whatever. So things like that, like I put it in there. And then the next question I had to answer was, let me get the book. Hold on. Let me tell you exactly what I had to answer. And I did a video on all this, but in-depth character exploration. Take time to understand your characters, backgrounds, motivations, desires, fears, flaws, and it's a whole thing. So you can write this, and me writing this out, just thinking about this character and what they're about, I actually came up with another character, which is her boyfriend. So it was really cool. So through studying that, I actually pulled out another character out of her. So it's really interesting, and it really helps a lot. If you want to get this mastering develop editing workbook, it is available, and I'm going to leave the link. It's on Amazon, and it's inexpensive. I think it's about $13, $14. If you only want the character profiles, that is also available. It's just under 200 pages. It's not a book. It's a workbook, and that is also available on Amazon. I'll put the link in there, and they're both under $20. So that's it for today, talking about emotions and showing emotions. Just think about how you would feel in the situation, um, and compare that to the character, because as a character's emotion, sometimes we write fictional characters, but they're all based off of an aspect of us, right? So just think about the situation and what would you do, or what it is that character wants to do, because it may not be what you want to do. There's many scenes where the characters do things I probably wouldn't have done. I don't have the guts to do, but my character did, or vice versa. I had the guts to do it, but my character didn't have the guts to do it. So it really depends on you communicating with these characters, not thinking that you're crazy, and not thinking that this is abnormal for you to have conversations with the fictional characters that come into mind. Okay, if you're a writer, this is perfectly normal. So we need to normalize it. We can talk about this freely amongst each other. I know the outside world will think we're insane and want to try put us in a little nice little I love you white jackets, but we're not. We're normal. Have a great day and happy writing.